Our top story here tonight, Idaho's public school funding formula has not been updated for decades. So now state education leaders are pushing for major changes to it. Aspen Shumpert spoke to the Department of Education today. In Aspen, it sounds like they're planning on bringing this up during the next legislative session.
Yeah, and the department says this model is going to reflect what they've been hearing from school administrators, parents, families across the state who have an input on how they want to see dollars going to classrooms.
Updating the funding formula has been a conversation, a serious conversation for a decade or more in our state.
Gideon Tolman, Idaho Department of Education Chief Financial Officer, says the state hasn't updated its public school funding formula since 1994.
We need to make some updates to reflect the changes that have happened in those years.
Changes like major population boom, technology advancements, and a growing number of students who need more resources. The GEM state funds public schools based on average daily attendance.
Essentially what it takes to staff a classroom. And so there's a portion of a teacher, a portion of a classified staff, and an administrative staff to support a classroom. Are you a special education student, or an English language learner, or an economically disadvantaged student, or in an alternative program? And those students require more resources.
Tolman says the current model worked well when everyone was going to their neighborhood schools. But now there are other options like charter schools and online learning.
It's probably past time to take a look at how to better incorporate those other elements into our funding formula.
This summer, State Department of Ed staff traveled the state to hear from school leaders, teachers, and families on what should be prioritized in the funding model. Tolman says three main topics kept coming up, including enrollment-based funding, which the state used briefly during the pandemic to provide stable budgets to districts.
If you have 90% of your students coming or 100% of your students coming, it's the same fixed costs for running the building, staffing the building, having a teacher in the classroom.
Idahoans also want to see the public education budget grow to reduce the burden on taxpayers when districts continually ask for bonds and levies. And they hope to see more support for special education, which public schools are required to provide.
That there is about a $100 million gap between what schools receive for special education student costs and what those costs actually are.
While federal money covers some special education funding, Tolman says it's not enough.
But that state funding is based on every district and charter having 6% of their student population qualified as special education. And we know that for most districts and charters, it's actually closer to double that, more like 12% of their student population is special education. So that gap between the 6 and 12% is then covered by supplemental levies.
Now the Department of Ed is working with state lawmakers to create a model they'll pitch during the upcoming legislative session.
Is it a matter of redistributing the existing amount of money that we have for public schools? Is it adding more money? Is it a combination of both? And at this point, we think it'll probably be a combination of both.
2 years ago, the department proposed shifting a portion of the public education budget to a weighted per student funding model, essentially an enrollment-based funding with extra money for students with greater needs. That proposal stalled in the legislature. We'll be following what happens this upcoming legislative session, Morgan.
As he said, this has been a conversation for quite a long time, and I know a priority for Superintendent Critchfield. Aspen, thank you.